This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man. Invaded by the Spanish. Did a whole lot of damage. Shit was outlandish. Banks got branded. Split up all the families, then shipped across the Atlantic. So many died from the famine. Threw the dead bodies overboard, sharks ate them like salmon. I know you can't stand it. I spit the truth, goddammit. Big business got managed, dig it double back. Came to pick up all the blacks. Whips beat up our back, we never got to relax. Pretend to set us free, but then you double back without a crack. The type of games that you play, hey, to keep it real, I ain't going for it. Beat a couple court cases, had a warrant for it. Told my mama if I ever did time, I'ma raise up the whole yard. Had my lawyer like, oh Lord, district attorney added more charges. No problem, I ain't tripping. Thumbing through the scriptures. Muhammad said the Lord with your war, that's a small issue. Bounce back out the rebound. UPK got the heat now. They done let me off the leash now, teaching in the streets now. A part of Lost Tribe South, but it started in the East now. Look, this for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. This for my people. This for my people. Yeah, this for my people. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck. For the white man, for the white man, fuck.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Yabashim Yashai, Barak Thumb to the brothers. Yashim Mahal Thumb, Bashim Yashai to the sisters. Police Officer Parag holding down the Tuesday Brotherhood class for the ISUPK coming out of Arizona. We on 12416 North 28th Drive, Phoenix, Arizona. We're in suite number 4, right off of the corner of 28th Drive and Cactus. All right. We got classes every Tuesday through Friday at 7 p.m. And every Saturday we hold our Sabbath service at 11 a.m. All right. Tonight will be a quick class. Of course, this is a brotherhood class, and the brotherhood that we're going to be talking about is the fact that the Most High favors the Israelites. All right, we're going to pull up in this Bible several of the multitudes of scriptures that we find all throughout the Bible that supports the fact that the Most High favors the children of Israel. Not only when I say favors, I'm not talking about, he kind of likes Israel a little bit more than everybody else. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to prove to you tonight very quickly and, solidify the point that the Most High not only loves the children of Israel and prefers us, but he also hates the other nations because he loves us that much. All right. That's the type of love that many people do not understand because your mind doesn't work the way that the Most High's mind works. You don't understand how the Most High could love the children of Israel so much that he hates the rest of his creation for our sake. All right. That's how much the Most High loves us. And we're going to prove it tonight. All right. We're going to start off in Malachi. Matter of fact, we're not even going to go to Malachi first. Let's start off in 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, right? So we'll be in 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha. Of course, we always go here. Now, a lot of what you're going to hear tonight, you'll hear some of the milk scriptures. And I call them milk scriptures. We call them milk scriptures because these are the basic scriptures that we use to kind of reel people into the truth, to understand how the Most High works and how these laws, statutes, and commandments works, and how serving the Most High works. And a lot of these scriptures that we're going to pull are the basic scriptures to understand, the difference between Christianity and Islam and the Bible, the true biblical text that everybody claims to adhere to, but certainly don't understand. All right, so we're going to be in 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter. Let me get, I want to see where I want to start off at. So lock it. Probably 54. Let's start at verse 53. This is Ezra. All right, just to give a little backstory about this scripture. We always read this scripture to show people that the Most High favors the Israelites and hates the other nations. But what we want to understand from this scripture is that Ezra the scribe is having a conversation between him and an angel of the Lord. Okay, and because Ezra is in this position, imagine if you was in a position to be able to speak to the angel of the Lord. Like, imagine that, all of the questions that you would have. Everybody, play that out in your mind for a second. Imagine all of the questions that you would have that you could get answered by this angel of the Lord. All right. Well, when you go through the book of Second Ezra, you find that he utilizes that to the fullest extent. Ezra asked this angel all manner of things. He damn near gets disrespectful a couple of times. And I mean disrespectful as in the way that he's questioning the Lord's intent. He like, you made the world for our sakes, but these people killing us. Like, we're going to read all of that in just a second, but that's the backstory about what we're about to read. Ezra is conversing with this angel, and this right now, what we're about to read, is Ezra talking to the angel about creation. All right, when you go into the book of Genesis, the first couple of chapters, we find the first day, second day, third day, all the way up into the seventh day where the Lord rested. Within those first 6 days, the Lord created all that was made. All right. Let's read this, verse 53. So Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 53.
Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 53. Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these, Adam also.
And after these, Adam also, right? We find that on the 6th day, everything was created, meaning man, cattle, beasts, everything that was made was made. But now we're shifting into the 7th day, all right, where the Lord created Adam, or breathed the breath of life into Adam, gave him his laws, statutes, and commandments, which we find that's a whole lesson within itself, all right? So as was going over the creation story, right? And he said, after these, Adam also. Go ahead.
Whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures.
Right? And we teach that Adam was the first man that was in the truth, the first one that was given dominion, all right, under the Most High. Go ahead.
Of him come we all.
And we all come from Adam. We all understand that. Now, Adam wasn't the first human being to ever exist. However, we do understand that Adam's bloodline is the only bloodline that still survives to this day. Okay? So out of Adam, everybody that you see comes out of that bloodline. All right, keep going.
And the people also whom thou hast chosen.
But now we see a separation. All right, we see that everybody comes out of Adam. All right, that's the bloodline that survived down through Seth, down through Noah, and then Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and all of the table of nations underneath. Okay, but we all come from Adam. But Ezra made a point to say, and also the people whom thou hast chosen. We understand that that's the Israelites. And if you don't, we'll keep reading and we'll find that out. Go ahead.
Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
And Ezra is saying this in the sight of this angel because he's saying, we know that the Lord created the earth for our sake. Understand that for a second. The Lord created the earth for our sake. Remember, tonight's class is titled, The Lord Favors the Israelites. So all that you see that's created, we understand that the Most High has created such a beautiful creation. All right. And this earth is all to be yielded to the children of Israel. It was all created with the intention of the Lord giving it to one group of people. Okay. And Ezra's talking to this angel about it. All right. The Lord made the world for our sakes. And we're going to get some scriptures as to why Ezra understands this. We'll go into the book of Amos. We'll go into the book of Obadiah. We'll go through all throughout the scriptures and we'll find why the Lord made the world for our sakes. All right, let's get verse 56.
Verse 56. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
They are what?
They are nothing.
There's other people that come from Adam that are not Israelites. We understand that. We all come from Adam, but then you have the people whom thou hast chosen, which we just read. And as for the other people, the Lord said that they are nothing. And you might ask yourself the question, well, why would the Lord create all of these other nations and then choose one to love and the rest to hate and call nothing? We're going to find that out as we progress through this class tonight. We're going to find out why the Lord created these other nations just to hate them. The scriptures call these other nations vessels that were created for destruction, vessels that were created for wrath. Okay, but we'll get there. All right. Thou hast said that they are nothing. Go ahead.
God. But like unto spittle.
All right, they be like unto spittle, like somebody spitting on the floor. You don't think twice about it. You walk up and down the street, something nasty, you got a nasty taste in your mouth. You're going to spit it on the sidewalk. Get it out of here. You're not going to think twice about it. It's a nuisance. You want to get rid of it. It exists, yeah. Your body created it, but you want the nasty taste out of your mouth. You got a loogie in the back of your throat. Get it out of there, man. And spit it on that floor, and in 2 seconds, you won't think about it because that's how much that thing means. It means nothing, right? That's spittle. Keep going.
And how liken the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
A drop that falleth from a vessel. A vessel is a container of sorts, right? Let's just say this cup, all right? I was in a QT earlier, right? Quick Trip, right? Gas station. And went and filled this thing up with QT. Got the best ice, the best crushed ice. I went and filled the thing up with the ice and I filled it up with water. All right, and this thing don't have the best seal on it, all right? So when I went to go pay for the rest of my stuff, as I'm fumbling around with my cards, a couple drops of water fell out of my vessel, that fell out of this cup. And I didn't think twice about it. I was like, damn, somebody gonna have to clean that up a little bit later. And then I put my card in the machine, paid for my stuff, grabbed my stuff, and went back to my car. And I didn't think about that drop that fell out of that thing until just now when I had to make this point. Because it means nothing. And it didn't mean anything to me. It didn't make me hate my water drinking experience because it meant nothing. And that's how the Lord looks at these other nations. All right. The Lord looks at these other nations like they're nothing. They're meaningless. Yeah, they exist, but they don't mean nothing to me. You understand? So now let's get Romans the 9th chapter. We always come here. Once again, it's going to be a lot of milk scriptures that we're going to get, but it's going to prove our point. All right. And you know, we find these scriptures all throughout the Bible. So we're going to go through a lot of them. But they're all going to make the same point. It's very repetitive. The Lord consistently talks about how he prefers us above the other nations, right? So we're going to get this. This is Paul, right? Romans the 9th chapter. Let's read the 13th verse.
Romans 9, chapter 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
So Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Hold for me Malachi, the 1st chapter. All right, because Paul is quoting something. And for anybody that has not taken a deep dive into the letters of Paul, just read Romans the 9th chapter to understand Paul's mission. Read Romans the 9th chapter and the 10th chapter. You'll find out that Paul was an Israelite, that he taught the Israelites, and his only agenda was teaching the lost Israelites. That was it. And you go throughout the book of Romans and you start to find out that Paul, the doctrine that he taught was the doctrine that Christ taught. And the doctrine that Christ taught comes from what we're about to read in Malachi, the 1st chapter. It comes from the so-called Old Testament. You're going to find out that these scriptures harmonize. The Old Testament, so-called, right, does not conflict with the so-called New Testament. The Bible is a living book that flows like a river, okay? And what you have to understand is that there is no new doctrine that comes out of this thing that's the truth. There's no new doctrine. It's been the same doctrine that the Most High has had since the beginning. And we're going to find out what Paul was quoting in Romans the 9th chapter. So let's read Malachi chapter 1. Let's read verse 2.
Malachi 1 and 2.
Come.
Malachi chapter 1, verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yea, ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob.
Keep reading.
And I hated Esau.
Well, this is what Paul just quoted. He said, now this is the Most High is speaking to us through the prophet Malachi. All right. And the Most High is telling us, I have loved you. He's telling the children of Israel, I have loved you. I preferred you. But we ask the Most High, wherein hast thou loved us? Right? How have you loved us? Wasn't Esau Jacob's brother? Go ahead.
That's what a lot of unbelieving Israelites would say today.
Right.
What if God loved us? Why wasn't he there during slavery?
Right.
If God loved us, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to my mother or my father and X, Y, Z?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of God's love, man.
Right.
God loves you more than them. And to teach you the lesson to never trust them, he's going to show you just how evil they are.
Right.
If you love them more than you love him, well, he's just going to show you what that's going to get you.
Right.
And that's where we're at today. This is not God's fault. That's your oppressor's fault.
That's right.
But you want to blame God for it, and that's a weak man's cop-out.
Right.
You should blame the man who actually did it to you.
Right. Damn right. No, damn right. And that's, once again, that's the question that we ask. Wherein hast thou loved us? And then going to ask the question, was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. Right. Remember, when you go into Genesis, the 25th chapter, you got two nations that come out of one womb and from one seed. All right. Isaac, the father of Jacob and the father of Esau. However, for some strange reason, these twins that Rebekah conceived in her womb were two totally different nations and two totally different manner of people. We find that in Genesis, the 25th chapter. That's verbatim what it says. But that's the Lord's doing. That ain't got nothing to do with man's doing. That's not my doctrine. It's not Commander General Yohana's doctrine. That is what the Bible says, because that's what the Lord decided to do. See, the Lord could do what he wants. He created two nations out of twins. You understand? Out of fraternal twins. He made two separate nations. And if he could do that, we can go back and what we just read in the book of Esdras, how the Lord chose one nation and the rest to be hated and one nation to love. He could certainly do that. Well, the Most High is telling us, he's reminding us, especially at the time of Malachi, because we were in such a stern and harsh oppression and bondage. We question the Most High left and right, just like we do today in America. All right. And so the Most High is reminding us. The Most High loved Jacob. He chose Jacob and he hated Esau. Keep reading verse 3.
Malachi chapter 1, verse 3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Hold for me, Amos, the 3rd chapter. See, what we was just talking about is so heavy because you think the Lord ain't going to deal with this nation of people that's harassed us since their inception? Remember, Esau hated us back in when he was born. You understand? He sold his birthright to Jacob and then hated him for it. Tried to claim that Jacob stole the birthright. Still do today. You understand? Like, these people have a hatred for us that is unlike any other hatred. And they've proven it not only with their actions, but all throughout time and with this prophecy that we're going to get ready to read very shortly here. They've proven that they've become an enemy to the Most High because of their hatred for us. All right, let's read Amos, the 3rd chapter. And we can start from the top.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known for all the you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
See, the Most High is reminding us once again. See, we're going to find a lot of reminders tonight. Okay, the Most High is reminding us that the Most High has only known us out of all of the children of the earth, all of the families of the earth. Once again, there's so many nations, a table of 18 nations. We're only one of them. There's 17 other nations, all right, that the Most High created and named. But we're the only one that he knows. Out of all of the families of the earth. Keep going.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquity.
That's what Barak Yah was just saying. Like the Lord, this, for one, what we got to get in our minds. See, once again, tonight we're talking about the fact that the Most High favors the Israelites. Now, it may not seem that way because of the bondage that we're under, because of the affliction and the oppression that we're under. But the Lord he's putting us through these things because we're the only nation that he recognizes as his own. Your father's not going to go out up and down the street whooping all of the badass kids on the block. But guess what? When you get around them badass kids and you start doing them things, you're going to get your ass whooped. All right? You're going to be the one getting your ass whooped. And you're going to be like, well, everybody else is doing it. What's your father going to tell you? Well, I'm not everybody else's father. And that's what the Lord is saying to us right here in Amos, the 3rd chapter. He's telling us he's not the father of the Edomites. Why do the Edomites get to live so deliciously? They get to live to a ripe old age. That one dude, I forget what his name, he just died. One of the Rothschilds just died. He looked like a goddamn fossil. He lived to be a ripe old age and got to die, of natural causes from what I can understand. And he got to die rich. He lived his life fruitful. Right. And think about that. And we're dying at 20, 30. If we get old enough to be able to develop some sort of disease, we're dying of heart disease and heart failure, congestive heart failure, type 2 diabetes. That's what we dying from. Eating ourselves to death because of depression. Right. Smoking ourselves to death, drinking ourselves to death because of depression. Right. Because of oppression. You understand? Like, we the ones getting chastised, and the other nations, it looks like they just get to run free. Now, once again, like we said earlier, they're going to get their day. We read in Malachi, the 1st chapter, that the Most High laid Esau's mountains waste. All right? And he laid his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So, trust me, every dog gets their day. But just understand that the Most High, he's dealing with us. He's correcting us. And that's what this affliction that we're dealing with, that's what this is. This is the Lord's favor. The scripture, I'm going to get to you right now. The scriptures just said, the scriptures say in the book of Proverbs, right, that whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. If you let your child do whatever he or she want, you really don't love that child, because you'll let them do whatever they want, get away with everything, live their life however they want, and they're going to make all of the terrible mistakes in the world because you've never chastened them. Let them get away with everything. But a father that truly gives a damn about his children, he's going to check them every chance that he gets, so that way they turn out to be an upright child, right? Go ahead, Salaki. You have something?
Yes, Salaki. What this precept really does drive home that point I brought in earlier. Mm-hmm. You're the child playing on the block, and you want to play with everybody else and do what everyone else does, when your father has certain rules for you for certain intentions to protect you, right, and to guide you into a certain life. But you disobeyed your father. You disobeyed your heavenly Father. We did, and now we had to go through you wanted to be like those people. You wanted to be like Johnny. You ripped and ran and partied with Johnny, mm-hmm, and Johnny, he abused you, and you got drunk and high with Johnny. You went to jail. Right. You went into charged labor. Now you're a property of the state. You're a ward of the state, or whatever you want to call it. That's what happens when you don't listen to your father. Right. Why do you? But you know what? You don't blame your father, because you are you're in a predicament now. Mm-hmm. Oh my dad! Why ain't he bailing me out? Right. Why isn't he bailing me out? Why isn't he saving me? Right. Why aren't you thinking about Johnny? Why aren't you thinking about you? You're what we did to get here. Right. That's the point. And if you would do that, then we would be fixing the problems in this community. We wouldn't be shooting each other. Right. We wouldn't be dealing drugs to each other and having no faith in one another, man. Right. We would be loving each other. This is what that brotherhood class is about. Damn right. But now we hate each other, man. Yeah.
Con, and that's also something to, make sure that we take into consideration, right? Understanding who the real enemy is. You try to make God your enemy because of all of the terrible decisions you've made. You should find out who your real enemy is. Like, and that's we're gonna find. Read for me Psalms the 60th chapter, right? Like the Lord has made his decision on who he's gonna deal with. The problem is that most of us, the decisions that we've made, we decided that we're gonna deal with the enemies of God, thus making ourselves enemies to God. You understand? Versus what really this class is intended to get you to understand whose side you should be on, to get you to take hold of the covenant that the Most High has tried to extend to you. He's extended this covenant to us. All right. And this covenant, when you go into it, it's a lot of benefits to it. Yeah, you got to keep order, you got to keep law. You understand? But the upside, I mean, and order and law is not a bad thing. America makes order and law seem like a bad thing, but in all actuality, it's order, it's law, it's something that keeps you leveled, grounded.
Society,
right?
In a whole zone. Otherwise, everybody it'd be chaos.
Right, exactly.
That's
chaos and disorder, right? No, damn right. So that's the whole point. But you can't take hold of a covenant that you're shying away from because you hate your father. You resent your dad because he punished you. He kicked you out of the house at 16, 17 because you was out. You would rather run the streets with Johnny, like you said. You wanted to run the streets with Johnny, so he kicked you out the house. You went to jail because you wanted to deal with Johnny and sell dope. And now when it's time for bail to get posted, bond to get posted, Pops ain't coming through because you decided that you wanted to leave the house and leave his protection and authority. But you mad at your dad now. You mad at your Pops. You resent him. And that's like us in America right now. We resent the Most High, whether we realize it or not. That's why we join Christianity, because we rather join the white guy. But we're going to read something. We're going to stand the true enemies of the Most High, right? Let's get Psalms, the 60th chapter and the 7th verse.
Psalms chapter 60 and verse 7. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of mine head.
Mm-hmm.
Judah is my lawgiver.
This is all talking about tribes of Israel and certain land, parts of land of Israel, right? The Most High is claiming us. Like the scriptures often make, they make a connection between us and the Most High as a groom and a bride, meaning we're married to the Most High. All right. And the Most High has claimed us. All right. And that's what he's saying here. But keep going. Verse 8.
Yeah. Verse 8. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe.
Like this is what the Lord, and what Moab ever done to anybody. Now, of course, we can go through the scriptures and we can find that they are actually a very terrible people who have come up against the children of Israel many times.
Right.
All right. But you just think about it. You like, damn, Moab as a whole got to be destroyed for what people did 2,000-3,000 years ago. Yeah. Like that's what the Lord, I wouldn't call it holding grudges, but he understands these people. These people were created to be vessels of destruction. He said, Moab is my washpot, and over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Once again, calling these things nothing, meaningless. All right, keep going.
Down. Philistia, triumph thou because of me.
Now hold, if you could get from me Isaiah the 40th chapter. We're going to run through a couple more of these. This is not going to take long. I just want to get this in your head, right? Isaiah the 40th chapter. And we'll read we will read the 15th verse. We might keep reading down. All right. But, we have to understand this thing about the Most High. Like, even Isaiah the 14th chapter talks about the Lord is going to have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. Okay. And it talks about the fact that we'll be on high, we'll be set up on high above the other nations, and the other nations will become servants unto us. Okay. That's the Lord's favor towards us. He's letting us know that although it doesn't seem like he's going to have mercy on us because of this captivity, and this is not new. We understand that we've been in multiple captivities. We've been under the Medes and the Persians. We've been under the Assyrians. We've been under the Babylonians and the Egyptians and many of the other nations. Okay, this is not the first captivity. Luckily, though, it's the last. And the Lord is telling us that he's going to have mercy on us by allowing us to rule over our oppressors. That's also in Isaiah the 14th chapter. All right, that's because the Lord has favor unto Israel. And these other nations have been created, like we just read. Moab is my washpot. All right, the other nations have been created to serve us. The problem is because we have disallowed ourselves from the covenant that the Most High has given to us. Now we're the servants. That's why when we go into the book of Ecclesiastes, when Solomon says, I've seen servants riding upon horses, because the other nations that are above us, their true nature is to be our servants. But now they're our taskmasters. They're the ones riding on high. They're on the horses, making sure we the ones, the slaves, getting our job done for them, right? And that's because they're true. That proverb that Solomon gave is just for us to be able to understand that our true nature is not to be servants in the earth. The book of Jeremiah, I believe it's the second chapter, asks the question and poses the question: is Israel a homeborn slave? That's what we act like. That's what we act like. We act like we're homeborn slaves when in actuality, the Lord told us that we're princes of the power. Yasha Allah. That's what that word means. Princes of the power. All right. We just got to start acting like it. The way that the Bible speaks about the other nations is the way that we tend to think about ourselves. Like we have a very low self-esteem as Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives. And that's by design of our oppressor. They have beaten us down, trodden us down. They've ground us in the powder, and they've made us feel that way. But in all actuality, the Lord doesn't want us to feel that way. The Lord tells, we're going to read that in just a second in the book of Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, right? That the Lord told us that we're above the other nations, but our oppressors have made us feel like we're far beneath them. But let's read Isaiah the 40th chapter. Let's read the 15th verse. See what the Lord thinks about these other nations.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket.
Now, we read that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. Like a drop that fall from a bucket. Now, Isaiah is saying the same thing. Behold, the nations, right? Goyim, which is the other nations, are as a drop of a bucket. Go ahead.
And are counted as the small dust of the balance.
Uh-huh.
Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing.
He taketh up the isles as a very little thing. These other nations mean nothing to the Most High. And the problem is, once again, we feel like that. We feel like we're nothing. We feel like we have this low self-esteem problem. That's what we was talking about us, why we eat so damn much, eat the worst, terrible types of foods. You understand? Suffer from depression and obesity and all of these things. Why? Because we have low self-esteem as a people. If we thought about the other nations like we thought about ourselves, we would be what the Most High tells us, which is princes of the power. Yes,
Yeah, the general just brought up about how Black people often over criticize things that native things that might happen about us, really just things that we believe white people will see and look bad about us and demean us for. But when they do the same thing, we overlook it or disregard it.
right.
Like January 6th, nobody created a stereotype about how Caucasians are always rioting, looting, trespassing, and are violent people.
Right.
And that was who did that whole event. And, upon many other during the riot of George Floyd, it was showing that they were the instigators that burned down police buildings,
right.
precincts. You know what I mean? And things like that. Nobody created a stereotype or anything about that because we didn't mind. But our oppressors, every time we do a little thing, we not only do we beat ourselves up, they beat ourselves up too. And now we hold on to this lower thought of ourselves.
Right.
That's not actually true.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we're doing, they're doing it worse.
Right.
But because you don't love yourself, because you don't love your people,
right.
because you don't have brotherhood, you don't even see it.
Right.
You can't see it. You have Stockholm syndrome. And this verse right here is exactly what that is. This can break you up out of Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
You'll understand that what God sees, and what God sees, God's not a slave.
Right.
God was never a slave.
Right.
And he understands and sees things through pure eyes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like
No, damn right. If you go hold for me, 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter. This will be the last precept. I just wanted to what you said was so heavy. I want to touch on something you said. Like this ideology is funny because a large percentage of so-called Black people in America are Christians. And so what that should denote, what Christianity should denote, meaning literally it's supposed to mean follower of Christ. Well, if you truly follow Christ, that would mean that you follow this Bible. And when you're going through this Bible, you're going to read all of the things that we just read. But how come 9 out of 10 Christians, I'll say 9.5 out of 10 Christians have never read the verses or focused on the verses that we've just read. Like, how come the Christians don't understand these things? Because the Christians that we were just talking about, they're the same ones that are suffering from that Stockholm syndrome, from that depression. They're suffering from those things and from a low self-image because they don't see themselves in this Bible. They got, like, we got depictions of Christ all up and through here, all right? And they're all black men. You understand? They're all depictions that look like a black man with woolly hair. That's what the Bible says. We see ourselves in the Bible, but then when you go into a Christian church, you're surrounded by white Jesuses. You understand? And white people. And when you think about Moses, it's a white man with long bushy hair. When you think about Jesus, it's a white man with long brown stringy hair. Right. When you think about Noah, when you think about Paul, when you think about Peter, everybody, even when I first came into I still got a problem with thinking about people in the Bible as black people because that's how hard it's been engraved into our minds that the Bible is white. So everybody can believe in the Bible, and once again, black people, majority, but so-called believe in the Bible, but they believe it through a white lens. So they'll overlook all of these scriptures that we're reading to show that the Most High loves us and hates the other nations, that would give us a high self-esteem, that would give us a high self-image. We're overlooking those things because of doctrine and because of Christianity and because of the wiles of the white man, because that's what they've done. It's not something that's an accident. It's by design, and that's why we think the way we do. That's why we act the way we do, and that's why we behave the way we do, because of the way that they have taught us to behave. But if we go into these scriptures like we're doing right now, and we read these things, we'll start to find out we are princes, and it ain't gonna be on no like that African spirituality or we was kings. No, it ain't none of that. You understand? You can have been a king and been a terrible, evil son of a bastard. You understand? But we, according to this Bible, are a holy people, set apart above all the other nations. You understand? That's totally different than any other sort of spiritual system could ever offer you. You understand? Because not only do you get your true identity here with this Bible, but you also get your laws, statutes, commandments, and your sense of being set apart from everybody else. And not only set apart meaning separate, but set apart meaning set above, set on high above the other nations. You're better than everybody. Can you think about that for a second? While you're busy in your life believing that everybody else is better than you, the Bible is telling you that you're better than everybody else.
Right.
If you can get that in your head, we'll be a nation that cannot be contended with. Because that's the nation that the Most High designed out of us. But we have to fall into that ideology. All right. Let's read this to close out. Let me get 2 Ezra 5 and 25.
2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 25. And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to talk about the face. Once again, going back to Ezra speaking with the angel of the Lord. And he's saying he's going to go down a list of all of the Most High's favorite things. This Bible talks about the Lord's favorite things. He has a favorite. It's things that he choose above other things, right? And so out of all of the depths of the sea, all of the bodies of water, the Most High filled the one river that he loves more than other rivers, which is the River Jordan, right? Keep going.
Yeah, sir. So like it. And of all builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
And out of all builded cities, now understand that the Most High has had his hand in. There is no city that's been built that the Most High, if he didn't want it there, it would have been destroyed. You understand? The Most High has allowed all cities and all nations to be built up, but the Most High has hallowed, sanctified, separated Zion unto himself. That's Israel, man. And he separated Zion unto himself because that's his favorite. All right, keep going.
Done, sir. So like verse 26. And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove.
And he created every bird that you see. He created falcons, eagles. You know, America loved the eagle. Rome loved the eagle. You know, that's their favorite bird. It's a lot of different birds, ravens, crows, all types of different birds, right? Well, the Most High chose the dove. The dove is the Most High's favorite bird, right? Keep going.
And of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
And the sheep, right, is the Most High's favorite animal. All right, that's why the Most High calls the children of Israel sheep. All right, and sheep are very special because the thing that they're best at is they follow. All right, a shepherd can walk a herd of sheep right over a cliff, and each sheep will see the next one in front of them falling to their death. But if that's what a shepherd tell them to go, they're gonna keep going. You understand? That's how loyal sheep are. And that's why the Lord compares us, even though we've been very disloyal to the Most High. His image of us is that of sheep, okay? And so the Most High's favorite animal is sheep, right? Go ahead.
Verse 27. And among all the multitudes of people.
And out of multitudes of people, go ahead.
Thou hast chosen thee one people.
But out of all the multitudes of people, the Most High has chosen one people, which we understand is Israel. Keep going.
And unto this people, whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all.
Listen, the Most High is a favorite of everything, but Israel is his favorite people. And because Israel is favorite people, we just saw this earlier, right? He gave the children of Israel his law that is approved of all, a law that is perfect. The scriptures say that the law is perfect. There's nothing missing from it. There's nothing that needs to be added. There's nothing that should be taken out of the law. It's absolutely perfect. That's the law of the Most High. All right. Sister says, Salaga, sir, would looking through the glass be example for people who care about others' point of view when they join the truth? Looking through the glass is where people image how others are, image how they appear to people, and judging them based upon appearance. Absolutely. All right. The sister's question, absolutely. And that's another thing that we have a problem with, right? Us looking at how other people look at us and us looking at other people. Like we want to, of course, we talk about this all the time. That's what that Stockholm syndrome that you brought up earlier, right? We want to be like our oppressor. You understand? And we want them to like us and accept us. Our viewpoint on things, and I studied this when I was studying behavioral health. Our viewpoint, the way that we perceive things, absolutely matters. All right. Our perception of things plays a big role in our lives. All right. And that's once again bringing it right back to the topic, which is why our perception of ourselves, our self-image must be high. Otherwise, we end up like the so-called thugs that we see on the TV, even though we understand that the original thugs were the Italian mafias, the Irish mafias. Those were the original gang members and thugs, the ones that was causing a havoc and a ruckus in all of the neighborhoods. It wasn't us. We was the ones that was civilized, right? But we learned how to be evil from Daz Dillinger and from Al Capone. We learned that from all these other nations, right? We learned that from watching The Sopranos and all these other nations doing terrible things.
Right.
And we want to be like them and be accepted by them. But excellent comments, sis. Right. And so now we have to just get back into the mindset that we shouldn't want to be influenced by any other nation, because why would we want to be influenced by a nation that's like a drop of a bucket to the Lord?
Right.
Like, why would we want to be like them? See, the reason why is because you haven't been taught this. Your Christian pastor, your imam, they're not teaching you these things about the Bible, so you don't think they're there. You think the Lord is looking at all the nations like we're all the same. As long as we believe on Jesus Christ, we're all the same. And with that thought process in your mind, you think that you are equal to a base Edomite. You think you're equal with them.
Or below.
Or below. Because once again, you're taught that this Bible is a white book.
Right.
And you got white Jesus and white everybody. God is white when they depict God in cartoons and movies. You understand? I think the only time they could depict a God as black is Morgan Freeman in that goddamn Bruce Almighty. But besides that, God has been white, thick and thin through every movie, cartoon, magazine, book, whatever you want to name it. You understand? So we just have to get out of that mindset, man. Once again, if we can get into the mindset of understanding that the Lord has chosen us above all the other nations and that they're like spittle, we won't want to be like spittle. We'll see what they're doing, and we won't be influenced by it. We ain't going to look at that and say, damn, I want to do that. You understand? That's the point, man. So once again, the Lord favors the children of Israel. Who gonna do these security? You want to do security now?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna close out the class with that. I just pray that everybody understands the Lord favors the children of Israel above all the other nations and hates everybody else. All right, raise your self-esteem up, raise your self-image up, get in these classes and understand your true value and your true worth. With that, I'll pass the class over to Priest Officer Barak Yah.
This is the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a sister, to a brother or sister selected. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18 and 21. Malachi chapter 3 verses 8 through 10 means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. A priest fund is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations are the
Passover, April 20th.
Reminder to Akumen Akwath Yum to check the bulletin board in the hallway if anyone wants to be a trooper. In the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands / scarves, and contact your camp leader. With that, we'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Majim, which means to stand. I Majim Shabbat. I Majim Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Brakatah.
Yad Yamata. Class dismissed.